Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening once again, and welcome to the program Wounds of the Heart, where we are here to help you heal anything that has caused wound in your heart, being it psychological, emotional, physical, what have you. This program is designed to help all of us through that process to be healed, just as a physical wound also gets healed. This afternoon this evening we're going to discuss, talk about recovery terms by some people who had gone through COVID. It is something that now it has become the talk of the day. It's just like malaria that you need to go check up and see whether you had it or not, so that it's going to help all of us to be able to overcome such a pandemic. As I said, in case you want to send your comment or a question today, I'm sure they will open the phone lines when the time is due for you to call in, probably ask questions about what we're going to discuss. But if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, Hope TV GH, you can subscribe, especially our YouTube page. Just subscribe to our YouTube page, and you can also share the link there. This program is live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV GH. You can do justice to that. I'm always looking okay, good, cute in my fabric, and it's been proudly sponsored by Slick Afrique. Slick Afrique, where quality material costs less. They don't want you to go through this hustle and tussle in town. Just go to Slick Afrique on Facebook, Slick Afrique, Instagram, Slick Afrique. Choose any material. Give them a call, 0557 3558 52, 0557 355 852, and the delivery guy will just be at the doorstep to deliver your parcel for you. It costs something small. Please, Slick Afrique, they are there to serve you when it comes to material. Although we have time to go to church, we have limited time, but yet you need to look good, and the best people to make you look good is Slick Afrique. Try them and you will never regret. Also, this young man who always design my flyer, Alpha Art, God bless you wherever you are. In case you want them to do good work for you, please, you can see me and I will link you up to Alpha Art, where you will be served with your beautiful designs, banner, whatever you want. They are there to serve you. If in case you also have a business where you want to sell them or advertise them, Hope TV is giving you that chance to do so. You can talk to them through any of the link that is scrolling on your screen, and you can contact them for them to also talk to you on that. Also, in case you have a church or a young adult program and you want us to come to have a program with you, you can also call us 0559 680066, and we can also come in and help your church, your young adult, women ministry, men's fellowship, whatever department it is. We are there to handle those invitations to come to the church to help out that. All right, we are also praying for people to be touched that they can sponsor Wounds of the Heart for this program to go far more than we want to hit, because we want to heal the wounded heart. Because not all people will have money to go to the psychiatric, not all people will have money to go to the counselors. But we are bringing them here so that those who can't make it will listen and watch and learn something for them also. Today we are going to talk about COVID recoveries. As I'm talking to you now, Ghana, the active cases, as I'm talking to you now, is 7,866. 7,866. And new cases, as I'm talking to you now, is 702 new cases. And the total death is 561. 561. I'm not interested in the recoveries or discharge. I'm interested in what I just told you. It should tell us that the COVID thing is real. Today, I'm joined by a beautiful lady all the way from US, and a gentleman will come and join me soon, but all the way from US, joining us through via Zoom. If my lady is ready, good evening from Ghana.
Good evening or good afternoon from my way.
All right, and how are we doing?
Doing well, and how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Just that a little bit scared about COVID, because that is the talk of the day. My viewers want to know who I'm talking to. I just want you to briefly introduce yourself for them to know who today has been my guest on this program.
So my name is Abigail Yaboa. I was actually born in Ghana, lived there about 8 years before, sorry, I lived there about 8 years before we moved to the States, and I've been living here ever since. I currently am in school trying to get my master's, and I work as an accountant for the Allegheny West Conference here in Ohio. I would say I'm more of a shy type, but once, we start talking on one-on-one, I do open up and start, talking up a bit. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right. So, viewers, that is Abigail. If you don't get the name right, she's Abigail. Abigail, no kind of sound Abigail. And today she's going to talk to us about how she was able to get through this COVID thing and the system that was put in place for her to go through it successfully. Abigail, we know COVID is a virus that has come. It started way back December in this town in China, as we all know. But Abigail, if I may ask you, to you, what is COVID?
COVID is a disease not only that affects you physically, but it affects you emotionally, whether you had it or you know someone that got it. Because in my case, I had it, and I also knew people close to me that had it. And it's actually a very scary process that you go through, because every day you don't know how is going to progress, how worse it's going to get. And it's just a daunting thing that stays on you. And you just pray that, eventually goes away, so that, you can get back to your full health eventually.
All right. So how did you know that you have contracted COVID? How did you know?
Actually, so technically, I think I had it about 3 days before I realized that I had COVID. So about the 30th of November last year, I started getting a congested nose. The weird thing is I never sneezed. I didn't cough. It was just my nose was really, really congested. But I took it as all signs of just, oh, it's a common cold. It wasn't until I think 3 days later, because even after the congested nose, my temperature was normal. So every day I would go to work, I would check my temperature, and I was like, okay, it's normal, so it's not COVID. And I would go in on day 4. I was actually inhaling steam before I would go to work. And I did the first round, and then I put water on again. And then I was about to do the second round, and I put some vapor rub in the water to help me inhale, and I couldn't smell anything. It was just gone like that.
Abigail, wait. I want my viewers to get what we are saying. So after 3 days, you realize that things are changing in your system, right?
Yes.
And the first thing that you probably saw or started changing was the common cold. Okay.
Yes.
Then the sense of smell came in.
Yeah, so usually I know for a cold, when it starts for me, I start getting a sore throat, and that's kind of how it started. And then I got the congested nose, and this was not just your regular stuffy nose. It was so congested that even inhaling steam was not clearing my sinuses up. It was just heavily congested. And that's when I realized, I was like, this is not normal. This is not my usual common cold that I would get. And then I didn't sneeze whatsoever in those 3 days. I was not coughing either. So I was like, if this is a cold, I should be sneezing and coughing by now. So the first sign that gave it away for me was when I actually lost my sense of smell. And the loss of sense of smell happened like that. It was not like a gradual, oh, it's going away slowly. It was 1 minute I could smell, the next minute it was gone.
Wait,
And I
Abigail,
didn't
wait,
even
wait.
really.
Abigail, what from what you are telling us? Probably somebody somewhere is going through feeling the same way, but the mind is not telling him or her that probably it's this COVID thing. At a point in time, you can smell something. At a point in time, you just go away. Is that what you are telling me?
Yeah. Yes. So that's what made COVID so special, where maybe if it's a cold, it's going to be a gradual loss of sense of smell, maybe. But with COVID, it was here 1 minute, gone the next. So I did that first round of inhaling steam with vapor rub. I could smell it. And then when I started the second round, it was just gone. And I couldn't smell anything. But again, it didn't really hit me that, oh, you've lost your sense of smell. I just deduced. I was like, oh, it's probably the vapor rub is not strong enough, and that's why I can't smell it. So it wasn't until that evening, actually, I was going to work, and I sprayed some perfume on me. And I think I did about 6 or 7 rounds of perfume. And then I was like, I should smell this perfume by now, and I couldn't smell it. And that's when I started to panic. And I was like, no, I was like, God, please, I hope I don't have COVID, because I was actually supposed to travel to Ghana in 2 days. So I was like, it can't be COVID, because if I have COVID, I can't go to Ghana. And that's when I became in denial, basically. I didn't want to believe that I had COVID, but all signs was telling me that it was COVID.
So Abigail, you see, all these signs, probably somebody had experienced it before, or probably is still experiencing these signs you are saying, but it's not, the person probably is not thinking that it is COVID. As you are saying that, God, I don't want it to be COVID. But when you realize it was COVID finally, what happened?
Honestly, actually, I still was in denial until I got the test results.
Seriously?
Because, so I stayed by myself. So I was supposed to take my flight back at where my parents live. So I packed up my things. I was still being hopeful that my test results was going to come up negative, and then I would still get to travel. The difficult thing that day was actually finding a place to test, because at that time in the United States, COVID cases were up so much that urgent cares and hospitals were not allowing walk-ins anymore. So you had to schedule an appointment. So it was like time sensitive of where I needed to get a COVID test within 72 hours to travel to Ghana, but I wasn't finding any place to do the COVID test. So I spent all of Friday kind of driving around my city, and then I couldn't find a place. And then one of my friends told me, was like, come to Cincinnati, go to the urgent care that I went, and then tell them that you have COVID symptoms, and they should take you in. So I drove there, and then, they took me in, and then I did the COVID test, which was very uncomfortable, but you had to do it. And I went home to my parents' house, and I remember I went home and I told my mom, and I was like, I can't smell anymore after the congested nose. And I remember that moment, my mom was like, oh my goodness. She told my sister, she's like, go get my nose mask, let me cover myself. And I was like, my own family.
All right, Abigail, I'll come back to you. Abigail now is telling us she has now told the family about what she's going through, and now the family, it's giving her space. A family that welcomes her, a family that talk to her, sit with her, now are giving her space now because of the symptoms that she has started exhibiting. I'll go for this break. When I return, Abigail, I have someone special, another special person on set that he also had gone through this brother COVID-19 thing, and he's going to also share, just as Abigail has started sharing hers with us, and he's also going to share his with us. So please stay tuned. In case you just joined in, we are talking about their recovery through COVID-19, how they had it, what happened, and psychological effect, emotional effect, whatever. They're going to share with us, and after that, they're going to advise us about what they think we should be doing, or what they think should be done when we talk about COVID. Please, in case you just joined, that's what we're doing. You can share the link, Facebook, Hope TVGH, or you can send your comment and your questions via our WhatsApp platform, 0559680066, or on Facebook, and we will read them for you. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
We want to defy our family's decision and get married or elope. I need advice. What should I do?
Please, what should I do?
How do I tell her I cheated on her months ago? I need help. What should I do?
Okay, so for me, the moment I read the story, the first thing that came to mind was, wow, knowledge is indeed power. Sometimes we go through situations because we have no knowledge of how to go about them.
If you come from a home like that, you are likely to accept anything the outsider would, direct us.
The fact that we had an interesting ceremony where a priest prayed and all of that doesn't mean that magically you have turned into something else.
If he finds his way to God, a Bible-believing church, and he goes and he wants to change, nothing is
he
impossible.
Giving his properties to charity and stuff?
Oh no, why? Okay, I think this is another discussion that we will not end today, so we'll not even go into it.
Real Talk, showing this and every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Hi, welcome back from the break. I told you I have another guest in my studio, a fine gentleman who, briefly I'll quickly go to him for him to introduce himself, for my viewers to know who he is, so that he can also share what his side of the story when it comes to COVID-19, just as Abigail. So Abigail, you have another counterpart, but this one he's with me here on studio. So you also going to listen to what he also was going through up to the point that you stop. So you also sit and enjoy someone's own. Good evening.
Evening.
Please, this is Hope TV, and the program is Wounds of the Heart. So you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. I want my viewers to know who you are. Though don't take your mask, cause you understand.
Oh no.
So, thank you so much. All right. So,
so my name is Robert Clark. I am an events producer, organizer, and also dabble in PR and some elements of entertainment. I think that suffices. What else do you want to
I know you like dancing. I don't know how to.
Yes. So that aspect of dancing is also there. So that's why I mentioned entertainment, because it's broad. Okay. There are multiple things that are under my belt, but right. Yeah. So
as it stands now, I just went to Ghana Health Service COVID page, and 7,866 active cases as I speak now, and the new cases are 702. With death to 561 as it stands now. This is from Ghana Health Services page. We know COVID came somewhere ending 2019 and it entered 2020, and everywhere in the world, everywhere you go, COVID-19. To your own best understanding, what is COVID-19? From your personal experience, what will you tell me or my viewers?
It's a virus.
It's a virus.
Yeah, coronavirus it's a virus, and the virus. The reason we have COVID-19 is because it's coronavirus that came out in the year 2019. Okay. Yeah, so it's coronavirus. It's novel, so it is unknown. It's not. We are not used to it. The people within the health institutions are not too conversant with it. Otherwise, they would have already found some form of cure, so to say. So it is on. We are now dealing with it, trying to learn about it to understand how to be able to combat it. So yeah, it's novel. So that's the little I can say. But it's a deadly thing, because at the end of the day, based on knowledge available, once you have it, it weakens your immunity and then opens.
No, Robert, we'll get there.
Oh, you asked what it is.
And so I like the part where you say it's deadly. That alone is a full definition when it comes to COVID-19.
Okay.
But I'll get to that.
Okay, so it can be deadly.
It can be deadly, exactly. That point I'll rest. So how do you know you've contracted COVID?
Okay, do you want my personal experience or you want the standard information?
No, you.
Okay, so mine, because the hospital told me.
No. So when the hospital told you there are signs, there are signs, there are early signs that. So at a point in time, with the signs that they were talking about on the media, the advocacy they were making, which of the signs prompted you that indeed you think, had not you gone to the hospital, how will you know that you are contracted COVID?
I wouldn't have known.
Really?
Yeah.
So my lady, the lady from US says that it started with the normal cold, heads.
Okay, so mine, there was no cold.
There wasn't cold.
No.
That is another thing we
so I didn't have cold. People say the sense of smell is lost.
Yeah.
Mine is.
You were still smelling.
I was still smelling stuff.
Hey,
As a matter of fact, I got to a point that my sense of smell was even sharper. Yeah. So so if you're like 12 feet, you bring something that is closer to me, I could smell it. And then I react to it. So mine, it had nothing to do with that. That's what I'm saying. For me, I wouldn't have known.
The hospital?
Yeah, because the hospital had to tell me.
So you went voluntary to go check up, or?
No, I was packed and collected.
You're all bad. You're packed and collected. Are you an item now?
No, so that should tell you. So I was weak. So I was weak, and then I was put into the car. I was packed.
Okay,
into
so
the car.
there's a sound. Okay.
And then when we got to the place, they tested for COVID, and then the doctor saw me and said, "No, this guy cannot go home. He has to be admitted." And then they put me on admission. And then when they put me on admission, they did the diagnosis and all the elements. I had acute bronchopneumonia. I had gastritis. I had liver inflammation and a few other things. And then they suspected COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. So they started the treatment. In those days when I had mine, I was admitted on 25th of May last year.
Last year May.
So I'm actually almost getting to
a year
COVID anniversary. Anyways, so I was admitted, and when I was admitted, they started treating because they looked at everything totality, and then they thought they should treat COVID as well. Yeah, only for me to realize after 4 days when the results came that it was COVID. So if the doctors had not been that fast and smart, then
gone too soon.
Yeah,
We thank God for life.
We thank God for life.
We thank God for life.
Yeah.
Abigail, Abigail, yours, I would say, bless God for the signs you started exhibiting, the normal cold. It got to the point that your sense of smell was something else. But Robert never experienced any of what you experienced. That makes COVID-19 something different altogether, because you earlier on said that should you do the standard signs and symptoms or personally? I said personally because people might be saying all these things, but personally somebody might be also going through the normal life. He or she might not know this. He has contacted, have a contact with this virus then. But you realize that one day you were just weak.
No, not one day. Well, I had fever. So I had temperature. So my temperature was high.
Okay.
So then I was getting some mild headache, and then I took drugs, and it went, was okay in there. But then what I was feeling heavily was weakness. And then I was feeling high temperature, and the fact that I couldn't eat. So I think, so loss of appetite too was there. And the reason why I had a loss of appetite was also because I started vomiting the things I was eating. So it got to a point, I'm like, but why eat when you're going to vomit it? So it's like, and then after a while, when I ate, it sat on my chest. And I think at that point, that's when they said I developed ulcer. So the gastritis is actually ulcer, So then that kind of stuff. And so anything spicy, anything, would just infuriate your system, and then you throw it back out. So it was those elements. And for me, I wasn't so much hearing about these elements as some of the symptoms of
what is
or what people usually said. And it was also around the early stages when this thing had come in. So my story is quite, But so that's why the baseline is always important for you to meet a doctor. And at that point, that was the third doctor I was meeting. So it's not like when the thing started happening, I was just trying to do self-medication and trying to be the hero.
A doctor just straight?
No, so the first time I went to a doctor, when over a period I realized that I wasn't feeling too well. Then when I met the first doctor, they gave me all the things, did all the tests, malaria, COVID, all the stuff, and then they gave me some drugs. And then they asked me to come after like 5 days. But by the third day, I wasn't getting well. So I'm like, let me just go back to the hospital, hoping to see a different doctor, so that that different doctor could tell me, you know, like second opinion is always good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I went, the person said, but you've just been here, they've taken care of all of these things, so you are clean. And this, my test confirmed that you are clean, so what's the issue? Then at that time I was very weak, you know, and then the person asked me to, you know, do some chest scan. And then they said, okay, it looks like they're seeing a little bit of some water, something in my system. But when I was leaving, she said she would advise that I should just do a COVID test.
Okay.
So that was the second person, the second doctor.
Okay.
And then she actually gave me a place I could go to, a private place. But the private place was going to start on Monday.
Okay.
So I left the place on Saturday. I went through the place, and then they said, oh, I should come on Monday. So by Monday, that is when I was extremely weak. And then I was taken to a different hospital altogether, and I was admitted.
Okay.
You know, so that's it.
All right. So Abigail, now you are hearing someone's side, story when it comes to COVID. Abigail, now you've broken the news to your mom. Your mom is shying away from you, putting on nose masks. From there, what happened?
From there, I was automatically quarantined. So my mom had my sister remove all her stuff from the bathroom that we shared. And then she told me, she was like, you know, the bedroom and the bathroom are the two places I can go. If I need anything, I just need to let them know and they will bring it to me, but I shouldn't come downstairs anymore. And then, you know, she kind of disinfected everything. So the next day, which was Saturday, I was waiting for my results. And Saturday was when I lost my taste also. So sense of smell was gone, and then I couldn't taste anything anymore. And that's when, you know, for me, it confirmed for me, I was like, definitely I have COVID. But again, we're still being optimistic that I really wanted to come to Ghana. So I was like, no, until I get the results, I don't want to believe that I have COVID. But I was still quarantining. I didn't step foot outside after that. And then Saturday evening, I remember I called the urgent care, and then I was like, is my test results in? And the guy was like, yes, it's in. You're positive. And my whole world shattered. I got sad immediately. Like, I was lying in bed for a straight hour, didn't talk to anybody. And it was kind of like that for the next 3 days. I didn't even want to hear the word Ghana because it just made me depressed for the fact that I had to cancel my trip, call my auntie in Ghana and let her know, like, oh yeah, I'm not coming anymore. All the people who had given me their stuff to take to Ghana, it was kind of like, now I'm embarrassed to actually tell them that I had COVID. And that whole ordeal, I think it took a toll on me. But apart from like the sense of smell, the taste, and the congested nose, as Robert was also saying, that there was that weakness originally that first couple of days also, but I just thought that it was me working a lot, and that's why I was weak. I never tied it to the fact that, oh, it might be a COVID symptom. And I lost my sense of smell for about 5 to 6 days, where I couldn't taste anything, I couldn't smell anything. And eating was really difficult, but how I was able to eat is I would just I would try to remember what the food used to taste like, and that's how I would be able to eat. My temperature still stayed normal, so if you looked at me, you wouldn't think that I had COVID.
Okay, so you didn't have a high temperature?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I never got a fever. My temperature was always normal. So going off of temperature, you would not think that I had, you know, COVID. And unless I told you that I couldn't smell or taste anything, again, you wouldn't know. And even though I had the congested nose, my voice didn't change for it to sound like, oh, she has a cold or some sort. So again, I was kind of like, though I had the symptoms, I could walk around and you would never know that I have COVID that whole time. And I think my symptoms cleared about, the sense of smell and taste came back about 7 days later. I had my congested nose for about 3 weeks before it actually cleared. And then the weakness actually continued out for that whole month. So usually here, when you get tested for COVID, they just tell you to quarantine for 14 days and then you just do home remedies. They don't give you any medication or any sort of thing like that. So I just had to do home remedies like that WhatsApp drink with the pineapple, ginger, and all that. I was drinking that twice.
The Sobolo thing, right?
Yeah, that's the little thing. I was drinking that twice daily. I was inhaling steam for about an hour to the point that, you know, the hot steam actually burned my skin. But I wanted to be clear of COVID. And then my dad made this concoction with like papaya leaves, turmeric, cloves, ginger that I would also take twice a day.
Hold on. Robert, did you also experience this thing, the Sobolo, the self in the, or you were placed straight to the hospital? So these things you didn't go through. The herbs thing, people will be telling you to drink Sobolo, the inhalation, those things. I don't know how.
Okay, so she is drinking these because she knows she's got COVID.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So me, I didn't get to know I had COVID.
Okay.
I was experiencing
those
symptoms and etc. And then I went to a hospital, and then I was admitted.
So on your admission, were you placed on ventilation or something, or?
Yes. So when I was admitted, I had shortness of breath. So I think I don't know whether it's SPO they call it, my oxygen saturation point. Mm-hmm. It was around 74 or 76, which was low.
Very.
It's supposed to be around, the healthy person is supposed to be range from 96.
90 plus, yeah.
96 upwards. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even close to, I was very low. So they had to put me on. It got to a point I couldn't go off the oxygen support for even 2 minutes. Because then it felt like it felt like death, And I experienced this about 2 or 3 times. I think one time, the distilled water they put in the cylinder had finished and they had to replace it. Another time the oxygen also got finished and then they had to change the cylinder, I think twice. And when that happened, the experience was difficult because then you couldn't breathe, so you just felt like you were dying.
Robert, psychologically, what were you going through? What was the situation psychologically?
Psychologically, I was okay. Mm-hmm. Everything I felt that was negative was physical. But not psychological.
Okay.
Because, so some days before I was admitted, I was sleeping and then I woke up with a song that was singing, like the song was just going on and on in my head. And I'm like, what song is this? So the only thing I remember from the song was, I will be still, know you are God, that's all. Mm-hmm. And I remember the melody of the chorus, but I didn't know the words.
Okay.
So I just typed, I got up and then I just typed I will be still and know you are God. And then I saw so many lyrics coming out on Google, and then I traced and I checked which one of them, on YouTube, which one of them sounded like what I was singing. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, okay, this is a song. And I checked the lyrics, I'm like, oh, okay. So it looks like something negative is about to happen to me. So this is a message for me. I'm supposed to hold on, and that's it. So now, that is what I experienced, and for me, I took it as a message.
As a message,
okay. Everybody and how they interact with their life.
Exactly.
But for me, I took it as a message because I'm like, where is this song coming out of nowhere into my head? Only one line rings, I check, and these are the lyrics.
Okay.
So the moment I started going through the things, I'm like, okay. So what it means is that there's light at the end of the tunnel, you'll be fine. It's just the phase you're going through. So for me, it was mentally, I was okay. I was just waiting to get well. And I was rather monitoring my experiences and what was going on and thinking of, okay, so what is the good that is supposed to come out of this? That's one of the scriptures I like that I always use for everything. All things work together for the good for them that love God and are called. Exactly. So for me, then I'm like, okay, so what's the good that's supposed to come from this? What's it? So I'm going through fire and I'm just observing what the good that can come out, so I don't miss the good. So that was the mentality I had until I got well.
That is
so that I don't think I had any issues psychologically, and I think that's the best experience I've ever had on the value of hope or the value of confidence that you have a positive end.
Exactly.
Because I've realized that if I didn't have that, then psychologically everything I would have felt would have been trauma.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've never really thought of it that way until when I went through and I'm like, wow, this is the value of being sure that there's this unexpected end and you are going to get there and you shouldn't worry, that kind of stuff. So that was one of my best training grounds.
That's wonderful. Abigail. So viewers, if you have any questions for these guests, you can send them through our WhatsApp platform or on Facebook page, and we'll read them for you. Abigail, Robert is telling us that God gave him message before the time, so he was psyched. What psychologically, how did you feel when you realized that you've contracted COVID and you need to be isolated for these few days? Now things are changing. What was the feeling emotionally and psychologically?
Emotionally, I was sad because I had been kind of working the whole year towards my vacation in Ghana. And I had put it before the Lord, and I was like, Lord, if it's your will for me to go to Ghana, your girl has been working, let me go. And the fact that it came out as positive, and that moment I got depressed. I didn't want to talk to anyone. So a lot of people who texted me in those moments, I didn't even know how to talk to them. My parents, most of the time, they came in and they would bring me stuff, but I wasn't talking to anybody because I was isolated. So the only time my parents would come in was to give me my medication or my food, and that was about it. So it took an emotional toll on me. It's good that, Robert actually was more optimistic, because in that moment, I was actually upset with God. I was like, why would he let something like this happen to me? And my mom would say, oh, all things work together. And I was like, that's great, but I don't want to hear that in that moment. Like, if it really all worked together, God would have allowed me to go to Ghana. So in those 2 weeks that I had to, be quarantined, there was a side of me that was upset with God. Even when I would do devotions, I was doing it because I know it was the right thing to do. But deep within my heart, I didn't want to talk to God at that moment, because I was like, he failed me.
God failed you.
For one thing. Yeah, and God failed me.
You're not thinking of dying. You're not thinking of dying. You're not thinking of anything. You're thinking of coming to Ghana. So the fact that you didn't come to Ghana, God has failed you.
Yes.
But a lot of people went through this and they didn't come back to life again, right? So psychologically, you were not thinking about what will happen to you. You were thinking about you not being able to come to Ghana.
Yeah, in that moment, it sounds very selfish now, but in that moment, I was not thinking about like, oh yeah, there are people who have died. There are people who were close to me that actually had it worse, that had to be taken to the hospital. And I think for me, because I feel like my symptoms wasn't super severe, I didn't see the seriousness of me contracting COVID in that moment. And it wasn't until I think I was almost out of quarantine, actually, that I realized that if I would have actually been able to come to Ghana, because I actually moved my trip 2 days behind. So I was supposed to come December 1st. And I realized if I would have came to Ghana, what would have happened was automatically at the airport, they would have quarantined me right there. I would have not been able to see my family. And the recovery process that I would have gotten, where compared to how my parents treated me and how maybe I would have gotten in Ghana just being by myself, it would have not been the same. And I probably would have not recovered as quickly as I did with my parents. And I think my symptoms was all gone within 2 weeks. However, I kept testing positive for another 3 weeks. So every time I would go get tested, because again, I was still trying to come to Ghana. So every week I would go get tested.
No problem. You'll come to Ghana. You'll come. Quite often. No problem.
Positive. Yeah.
All right. So now let me get back to Robert. Robert, now we know that things. You've been in the hospital admission. How many days did you spend?
In totality, I spent in the hospital. I spent 3 weeks.
3 weeks in the hospital?
Yeah, the reason why I had to spend 3 weeks was because they had to even allow me to go out so that others could come in. Otherwise, I was meant to have stayed there for a longer period. So when I came out from the place and I stayed at home, I spent another 3 weeks just to be able to get well. So in the totality, it was 6 weeks. And then I had like 1 week of initial breakdown before going there, you know, when I was weak and stuff like that. So the whole process, you know, about 7 weeks. Yeah, hospital 3 weeks, home 3 weeks.
So you self-isolated home also for 3 weeks?
No, I self-isolated home just the first week before.
The hospital?
Before the hospital.
Okay.
And then I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and then when I came home, of course, obviously I was healing. So, I mean, the COVID had already left the system. The only thing left were the effect of the other illnesses I was experiencing. So, yeah, that was another 3 weeks before I could get back into the space.
Ellen White, Jumo says that some individuals are joking with this pandemic. Please, COVID is real. Oh, please protect yourself. Ellen, thanks so much for that message. If not for anything, we have two people who are testifying for the fact that that COVID we've heard, they have they contracted with it, and now by the grace of God, they still have life. Robert, I know you are married. How did wifey and the family treated you in that time?
Okay, so when I felt I wasn't well, I started isolating myself. The only person that I was encountering was more of my wife. And that was it. And so, and as much as possible, I tried not to encourage her around until it was very necessary.
Okay, but she was able to cope well with that?
Yeah, she was able to cope. But how she managed not to have caught the virus.
That is up to God.
That one there, Charlie.
I wanted to ask you. You see, you are sleeping on the same bed. One had gotten COVID, one didn't get it. As of now, she's still strong and fine.
Yeah, she's fine. So that one there is God, God and His own wisdom and His merciful ways. Because everybody, I had 3 people. There were 4 people in my house. None of them got it. My wife didn't get it. Nobody else got it. So, you know.
Hey, at the COVID, viewers, you see. We might take it to be a joke, but I'm telling you for the fact that I know someone who had passed away, personally, had passed away with COVID. So I know what Robert and Abigail are saying. But yet now, Robert and Abigail, let me come back to you, Abigail. Abby, with now you've recovered, or you are in recovery. How many days did you self-isolated, and how did you know that you are now COVID-free?
All right, so I actually self-isolated for about a month because even though my symptoms cleared up, every time I would get tested, I was so positive. So I wasn't sure that if I could, still give it to someone. Luckily, everyone who I exposed, I think I exposed about 5 people before I found out I was positive, and all of them tested negative. None of my family ever got it. But I isolated for about a month until I got the all clear from the doctor that I was negative. I never left my house. It was actually towards the end. I actually started having some chest pains where breathing became a little difficult for me. So every so often where I would breathe around my chest area, I would feel this sharp pain. And then I was like, oh, this is bad. I thought this is where I would have to go to the hospital, put on a ventilator and whatnot. But luckily, I think my last visit, when I went to the urgent care again, the doctor checked me and he was like, I'm okay. It's just, the COVID clearing my body. And that's why I'm feeling those symptoms, but it should be gone. And then I got the negative result, I think a little bit after Christmas is when I found out that I was negative. And that's when I finally came out of my room, went downstairs and actually saw my family. And then it took me a while, weakness-wise. I wasn't able to do the same stuff as I was able to do. I got very winded easily. So just even climbing up the stairs, I would go and just feel like I just ran a mile. And that took me about a good month after that to actually fully feel like myself again.
All right. All right. So after how many months now? After a month, right?
Yeah, after a month.
All right. All right. So I have a surprise. Abigail, I'll come back to you. I have a surprise guest on the program. Shoko, good evening. Shoko, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
My name is Pastor Daniel, and the program is Wounds of the Heart. Welcome to this program.
Thank you so much for having me, and I must apologize for joining you late.
No problem. I have accepted it in good faith. Now, way back last year, we heard you went on isolation and you were posting it on Instagram and here and there. Now, COVID, we know COVID is real. We know now for you alone, we know COVID is real. Now, how was the experience like?
It wasn't fun. In the beginning, when I got it, I just knew there was something off about me. There was something wrong with me. I didn't know what. I thought there was something wrong, okay? So I made jokes about it in the office. I would say, guys, I feel like there's something wrong with me. It's probably the COVID. And we'll all just laugh about it. I wasn't feeling sick. Mm-hmm. I just didn't feel like there was something okay. Mm-hmm. So this went on for about 2 weeks. And then I started feeling extremely fatigued. I was constantly tired. So I told a friend of mine, I was like, I don't feel well. I feel tired. I mean, I don't think it's COVID because I can smell, I can taste. I don't have a flu. I don't have a temperature. I don't have a headache. None of the symptoms that were advertised. I didn't get any of the symptoms that were advertised. So, but then there was this taste in my mouth. It tasted like salt, like salted ice. Mm-hmm. That's how I describe it. It tasted like, you know, the snow in the fridge, the ice frost in the freezer. It tasted like that with salt in it. So my friend was like, honey, I don't think the taste in your mouth is a taste. I think it's probably an absence of taste. And I said, no, I can definitely taste something. And she said, you know what, just take the COVID test. And I said, okay, I'll try. So just then I took my bottle of perfume from my table in the bedroom and I sprayed my hand and then I smelt it. And I realized I couldn't smell the perfume. So that's when I said, whoa, there's something definitely off. So I immediately went to Nyaho Clinic and did a 24-hour test. It was a 12-hour test. It was 700 Ghana cedis. The process was really, yes. I needed to know immediately because I have very young children. Okay. And my parents have pre-existing conditions. Okay. And so I just needed to know immediately. So that's why my test cost 700 cedis. Because it was less than 12 hours. Okay. But if you wanted to wait 48 hours, you could pay about 300 or 350 cedis. So, and they have an app. You know, as Nyaho, you don't have to go for your results or anything. Mm-hmm. They have an app, so they just upload your results onto the app. So I came home, and then a few hours on, I kept checking the app, refreshing the app, refreshing. But even before I went to take the test, my husband took my children to my mother's house, so I was home alone. And then I got a call from the doctors, and they told me that I was positive. And they gave me a prescription for drugs to buy. From the moment I got to know I was positive, I started getting sick. That's when I started getting sick. I realized I had a rash on my arm. I still have traces of it on my arm. It looked like a ringworm or something. So this rash appeared on my arm, and I started taking azithromycin, vitamins, and zinc. And then I felt okay until about the 5th day. I couldn't breathe. I was at home one day, and I just realized I couldn't breathe. My chest, I felt like there was something very heavy, like a fridge on my chest. And breathing felt like I was trying to push it. Okay. That's how it felt. So when I tried to breathe in, it felt like I was trying to push something very heavy. So it felt safe. It felt more comfortable not to breathe. Like I just felt like just stop breathing, you know, because it was easier to just be still. That's when I realized, okay, it's happening. Okay, I'm very sick now. It happened for about 3 days. And every time it happened, I'll just lie on the tiled floor because it's cold, because I was sweating a lot. I just lie flat on the floor and pray. I was praying all the time. And I'd also do the steam, the heat, neem tree. I don't think that helped me.
Okay.
But I think just psychologically, I felt I was doing something. So I just kept doing it. This happened, it went on for about 3 days. And then I began to feel better. That was the most difficult part of my experience. The rest of it was no taste, no smell. Eating was a problem because I was eating so much. I gained about 6 kg from my COVID experience.
You had appetite to eat. You have appetite for food.
I was constantly hungry. Hey. Constantly. Like the hunger was just, it won't go away. No matter what I ate, I could eat a bowl of kinky right now and I'll be so hungry. Like I haven't eaten in days.
Seriously?
And the hunger is not like, oh, let me just eat something small. It's like, give me food, give me food, give me food. Like when I didn't get food, I got upset because I was so hungry. And it's not even like, I've been pregnant and had cravings. It's not even like that.
Like that, okay.
It's more than that because, you know, when you're pregnant, you can wait for your food. But this one, I was eating. Like I just opened the fridge. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat meat. I don't eat any meat at all. But when I got COVID, I was eating chicken because I just wanted to eat. I just wanted to put food in my mouth. And I think it also has to do with the fact that you can't taste anything because psychologically, when you put food in your mouth and you can taste it, you know that you have eaten, right?
Now wait. Robert is asking, how was the chicken tasting? Because somebody you don't like. I see your post on Instagram. You always put these veggies, but I've never seen that chicken aspect. So how was it? How was the taste?
It didn't. I couldn't taste it. Nothing.
You were just eating.
It all tasted like salted ice.
Oh.
You know, it all tasted like salt. I was buying chocolate ice cream cake every day. Every day was chocolate ice cream was delivered to my house, and it all tastes like salted ice. I just couldn't help it. It was bad. I was eating so much that I got depressed from the eating, because now I began to feel sad because I'm a fitness junkie. I like to watch what I eat and I like to work out. But then here I was growing a pot belly in 2 weeks. My stomach was just at my face. When I checked my weight, I realized I was just going up. I gained 6 kgs. And it was very depressing for me because, I mean, here I am. I just had a baby. I struggled to lose the weight. And then in 2 weeks, I gained weight because, you know, I got sick and I was eating and I was so weak, I couldn't exercise. Every time I tried to exercise, I got so exhausted from it that I actually began to feel sick. So when people say that when you have COVID, exercise, I don't know, maybe it's everybody's experience might be different.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
But me, I couldn't exercise at all. And even after, it took me a while. I needed to hire an instructor. I needed to go to the gym. I needed help because every time I tried to exercise, I felt like I had never done it before. I felt like it was a totally new experience. And things I could do, I couldn't do. It took me about 3 months to be able to really feel like I was back, you know. Until January this year, I didn't really feel like I was quite there.
We know.
Yeah.
So psychologically and emotionally, I know when you realized that things were not working well in your system, what was the mindset? Because you also like to pray a lot, but what was the mindset? Did you ever think that you're going to die because it was covered? What happened?
Oh, yeah. When I couldn't breathe, I thought I was going to die because when COVID started, I had a friend who got it. His entire family got it. This is when it first started. And when they tell you don't come to the hospital until you can't breathe. So he never had the I can't breathe experience, but his father had it and his father died. His auntie had it and she died. And they lived together. So he lived with his father, his auntie, and his sister. His father had it died, his auntie had it died, his sister had it and was in the ICU for a while. And he didn't get the I can't breathe experience. His symptoms were very mild. So when I couldn't breathe, I told my husband, okay, this is it. This is what they're talking about. Because it felt, the thing is that you don't even struggle, it felt like the safe thing to do is to stop breathing. It's like when you are drowning and you struggle for some time and you decide that when you stop struggling, it's calm. Like you feel like
you're safe now. So you just stop. And I think that's how you die, because you don't try to breathe. You just, when you stop fighting, you just feel safe, like you should stop. And then you stop breathing. I guess if you don't breathe, you'll die. But when you try to breathe, it's like I felt like there was something very heavy on my chest, and I was trying to push it, but I didn't have enough energy to push. So pushing it was taking too much out of me. Like breathing in was taking too much energy. It was too much. So my husband was standing over me. I was lying on the floor, and he would be fanning me. And it's not continuous, by the way. It's not continuous.
Okay.
It happens for about 2 minutes, like 2 minutes. Continuous for 2 minutes. Then it will stop. And then you feel fine again. But you just be so tired, you fall asleep. Like I was so tired every time. I'll just sleep for about 4 hours. And then I can't breathe, and that will wake me up.
Okay.
And then, the whole thing will happen. And then I feel better. I'll drink my water, I'll eat, I'll drink. I was drinking a lot of Vena Active mineral water because it has some
yours was in an earlier stage. Did you ever go to the hospital?
I didn't go.
So you self-medicated?
I was always calling, and my doctor always told me that whatever we would do for you in the hospital is to give you vitamin C and give you zinc. That's what we would do for you. So it's better you stay in your house where you can get all the support you need and do it. Because if you come to the hospital, it's the same thing we'll give you. That's what he kept telling me. So I just stayed at home. And he said the only time you come to the hospital is when you are not breathing, and we'll give you the oxygen.
Yeah.
But
Robert had same. He was placed on a ventilation.
Oh my God.
Yeah. His drop. Robert said it dropped to 70. What?
It was about 74 thereabouts. When I initially got there. Yeah. So I gradually saw it rise all the way through to 90.
90, okay.
And then, before I could take it off. I mean, the 3 times when I had it off, Charlie, felt like the world had ended. Yeah, because I couldn't go off for like just 2 minutes was even too much to go off the oxygen support here until I actually had my SpO2 up.
All right. Now, my show, the program it's at its apex, but we thank God for life, as we say. We thank God for life. We thank God for giving that strength to go back to the studio to work. Now, your message when it comes to COVID advocacy, what should be your message to my viewers who are watching?
It's not a joke. It's not some conspiracy theory. It's not for rich people. It's not something that is far away from you. I didn't think I would get COVID. I mean, in the beginning, we were all afraid and we all thought we were getting it. But at some point, we all felt like, oh, I don't know anyone who has COVID. It's not going to happen. Or, oh, I think I got it, but I'm okay because I had some bad cold some time ago. I think it was COVID, but I'm okay. It's okay. It's okay until it's not. It's okay until it's not. You'll be thinking that way until it hits you. And the truth is, you might be. I thought I was so fit, and I eat well, I exercise well, I get enough sleep. I take my vitamins. I keep my immune system up, and so it was unlikely because all the ads say that people with underlying conditions are those who struggle, or if you are not fit, if you are not well hydrated. I'm very well hydrated. I drink 8 bottles of water a day, but I got it anyway. My husband, on the other hand, never got it. He's never gotten it. He was home with me. He never got it. So we are all different.
All right.
We're all different, and you don't know how you are until you get it. And also, you might be asymptomatic, but somebody else can catch it from you, and the person will die because of you. So think about that.
Thank you so much.
Think about the fact that because of you, somebody can die. So if you don't care because you are not afraid, care because somebody else can die because you were reckless. So that's all I'd say. The lives of our friends and family actually are in our hands. So if we care for them and love them, let us stay safe because the safety of one is the safety of all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, God bless you now for making the program a beautiful one. And the person you all know now, Ashoko, she contracted COVID. By the grace of God, she's alive. She's strong. Abigail, I want to sign up with you. Abigail, your last message. You also had it. What will be your message for my viewers when it comes to COVID?
Actually, before I say that, I would agree with Nat that the hunger thing was actually very real. I actually ate a whole lot too, where my mom was like, it's not possible that I have COVID because I was eating the banku, the mutu, the cocoa, and I was eating a way lot more than what I usually do. And I would add that, as Nat was saying, COVID is very real. Just because maybe it didn't hit me as hard doesn't mean that's not going to hit you as hard. It hits everybody differently. I might be asymptomatic, but you might get it where you will be placed on the ventilator. And we have to take it seriously. Just because we're seeing these numbers or people are saying it's a joke, trust me, it's not a joke until you get it. Okay. Because in those last moments leading up to me getting COVID, I was very careful not to go out to places, washing my hands thoroughly, doing all the things that I was supposed to do to prevent COVID, and I still got it. So don't think that, because you're doing, this and that, or just because I'm healthy, I'm not going to get COVID. It's going to come for you if you're not, careful. And when you do get it, take it seriously. Even if you're asymptomatic, don't think that because I'm not showing any symptoms, as I was saying, you can't give it to someone else. It's very serious. And someone else could get it where they will be placed on a ventilator. And that's why I decided to just self-isolate till the doctor gave me the all clear that I was okay.
Thank you so much.
So that is my message for people.
God bless you so much, Abigail. Robert, a dancer who had COVID who couldn't dance again, and Robert, COVID is real. My viewers are listening to your final words.
What I would say is trust no one, suspect everyone, suspect everybody, trust no one, suspect everybody, and wear a mask. Because even if it's not for yourself, wear a mask because you might just infect the other person who may be innocent, all right? So, and I think one of the biggest challenges that we have is familiarization. Because you're familiar with people, as in colleague, friends, people in the house, we tend not to wear the mask. So what I'm saying is familiarization is a big problem. Let's try to overcome the familiarization by wearing the mask. And then finally, for my Christian brothers and sisters, I would say to you, trust in the Lord, but lock your house when you are going to sleep because thieves could come. Or trust in the Lord, but lock your car.
Exactly.
It simply means that trust in the Lord, but take the precautionary measures seriously.
A good point. That's a good point. Viewers, you see, we've gone about 11 minutes past the hour 5, and it's all because of COVID-19 signs and symptoms that probably you might be facing. 3 people felt differently. One had a sense of smell. She couldn't smell. She couldn't do that. She started with cough. Now Ashoko didn't. She didn't start with that. Similar to Robert, she didn't do it. So please don't ever sit and wait for the signs and symptoms that is circulating around to come to you before you think you've gotten COVID. What we got to do is to protect ourselves from COVID so that we will never be affected. And finally, we've created a group that we're going to help people, a counsel unit to help people who are with a sexual addiction, masturbation, pornography, and that of sex addiction. So if you are those people struggling to overcome such an addiction, you can leave your name and your WhatsApp number so that you'll be added to the platform for the counseling unit, the counseling to start any moment from now. Please, we want to help you. Nashoko, thanks for joining. Abigail, thanks for joining. God bless you from Ohio. God bless you for joining. Nashoko, God bless you for joining from your home.
Amen.
And Robert, God bless you for being with me on the studio so that I felt that I'm not alone, that I have 3 people who shared their experiences with me today on set. And you out there, COVID is real. As we're saying, mask up, because you might not know who is carrying the virus. Until then, on the Wounds of the Heart, next week, Wednesday, we're going to meet at the same time, 4 p.m. Please stay safe. COVID is real. My name is Pastor Daniel Bedubidi, your regular host. I am Hard.